We're thankful to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video because going back to school can be stressful. Who loves being trapped in a building with adults, judging your intellect while simultaneously attempting to figure out how to interact with your peers around you? Barely anyone! I don't want to put my trauma on you, but school sucked for me, and I could have used a mental health boost from a professional like those at BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a platform where therapists and their clients can communicate effectively and people like us can get the most out of therapy. Starting therapy with BetterHelp is easier than a pop quiz. Fill out a questionnaire and you will match with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. One of the best features of BetterHelp is that if the first therapist doesn't feel like the right fit, you can easily switch to another one until you find someone you really connect with. They carefully make sure therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you if you have any questions. If you're struggling and think you'd benefit from a therapy session, click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/CinemaSins and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Starting your sci-fi movie with a Starfield cliche. Also, this Starfield's on for some time. Holy shit, Rufus Sewell isn't the bad guy in this movie. Movie doesn't know how to Rufus Sewell properly. I know this riddle. This is the one where there is glass, water, and Sally is dead on the floor, but Sally is a fish. Does he also ride a horse named Friday later? I can't believe how quickly I solved this movie.
There are people coming for you, even as we speak. You must not let them find you.
Damn, dude. If this was so urgent, why didn't you tell him that right away? Instead, you tried to tell a confusing story to a person who just woke up and had his memory erased.
I suggest you retrieve it since you only paid for 3 weeks and they was up 10 minutes ago.
So, wait. What is this guy giving John shit about again? If he paid for 3 weeks, and he's been here for 3 weeks, is he saying the problem is the 10 minutes he went over? I feel like the only reason this guy is being such a hard ass about 10 minutes is so that you'll notice he's been replaced later in the movie by some other guy.
He said he was your husband's doctor. He wanted to speak with you.
Then why didn't he stick around? He obviously came by and dropped off this card. If he was going to do this, why not just call the place and save a trip? Business cards with no phone number on them.
Thank you for coming to see me on such short notice.
And without any information ahead of time, so we can do the whole exposition thing with the audience watching.
Wherever your husband is, he is searching for himself.
Why, he's just like a... Never mind. Can't think of an apt metaphor. Also, movie makes Jennifer Connelly experience yet another labyrinth.
Jay Murdoch. What's your name? Justin? Jerry?
You start with Justin and Jerry? I mean, obviously I'm partial to Jeremy, but not starting with John or Jack is the female equivalent of guessing any J name other than Jennifer first.
Looks like somebody woke up on the wrong side of bed.
Cue the Who! And the director said, let's have this guy load an apple so the audience knows he's an asshole. You know, in case the uncovered green Jell-O didn't give it away.
What kind of killer do you think stops to save a dying fish?
I mean, duh. Aquaman.
I'm being punished for my sins, right?
Only in a YouTube video 23 years later.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to alarm you.
You just casually laughed while telling her you thought her husband may have murdered 6 women. You may need some work on your not alarming skills. Unnecessary nudity is welcome, but unnecessary. But welcome, but unnecessary. I'm about 60-40 on it. I'm going to start whipping myself like Paul Bettany in the Da Vinci Code. This Killer Strikes Again article is about World War II, and this Hunt for Murderer article is a vague description of John and Emma's marriage, which is a fun Easter egg and all, but it doesn't fit the headline. This is a technique I like to call meta-wrong. Unless these bodies are made of cake, there's no way that old blunt hand at that speed would slice through a skull like that. Wait, are they made of cake?
It is said he is able to tune.
Impossible.
We have seen it with our own eyes.
If the strangers operate with some sort of hive mind, then how is there one rebel who's like, impossible?
We find them wandering like lost children.
Why didn't you call this movie The City of Lost Children then?
Mr. Knight, you will take the east. Mr. Face, you the west.
I just want to know who is finding the material and designing and creating these incredible and complex outfits you are each wearing. Is it Mr. Fashion? Also, this Smurfs reboot went way too super gritty if you ask me.
No one ever listens to me.
I think this is supposed to be funny, but considering you've been ordering around an obedient police force this whole movie, and we haven't seen a single time besides this where someone didn't listen to you, this joke rings kinda hollow. Apartment chase includes a run down a spiral stairway scene cliche. I see this movie went to the enemy of the state school of leaving behind important business cards for plot purposes. Also, what is this movie saying? That when John tuned a doorway a minute ago, it caused him to drop the business card?
There's just one thing that puzzles me. I've met quite a few murderers in the course of my work. Murdoch doesn't strike me as one.
I saved this question for last as we were walking out of your office so John could overhear us talking about him.
I would say your life is rather lonely.
Ooh, psychiatric burn. Most people don't know this, but there's a section in Detroit where psychiatrists gather to throw shade at each other based on non-clinical observations. The "your mom" snaps are on a whole different level.
This is no stray, Doctor. This one can tune.
That's impossible.
I can't explain why it's so annoying when people yell out, "That's impossible," in a movie, but for me, the question becomes, why would he lie? And this is the second time in 10 minutes someone's done it. What is this clumsy tripping over now? Also, protagonist who has been otherwise careful accidentally makes a loud noise at exactly the wrong time cliché.
It's all just a big joke! It's a joke!
CinemaSins defenders. Ah, I see. The strangers perfected the room of requirement long before Hogwarts did.
A dash of teenage rebellion.
Science.
The idea that a simple man could develop the ability to tune.
It's absurd, I know.
This is just close enough to them saying that's impossible again that I'm going to give it another sin. Not only is he drawing spirals, and these notes mention the identical spirals under every victim, but the chalkboard has an entire column that seems to be dedicated to saying each victim's wounds were spirals. I'm beginning to think the movie wants us to be paying attention to the spiral shape. I mean, it's subtle, but if you look close enough, it's right there.
It's driving me crazy. I can't sleep.
You think you've got it tough? You try looking after these kids for a change.
The ADR here is so bad I feel like I accidentally turned on English dubs, even though the movie is already in English, I think. I'll be honest, I stopped trying to understand this movie about 20 minutes ago. Loses enough motor skills to faceplant into the soup, but somehow continues to hold his spoon up. Also, they survived this. So all these people fall asleep at the wheel and the cars all just break and park themselves? And yes, I know something mystical is happening here, but elsewhere people are knocking over chairs and such, so it's not like everything just freezes. Is it too much to ask for some metaphysical consistency?
Let the tuning commence.
Thing I said before every high school band practice, and not a single person got the reference, and eventually Mr. Altus sent me to the principal's office for disruption, even though it was f***ing hilarious, somehow makes it into the script. Oh, I get it now. It's Matrix meets Inception by way of Doctor Who production values. Other than the muddled abstract mixture of meandering sci-fi concepts and its B-movie visuals, I can't figure out how this never became a mainstream hit. This tuning thing really needs some explanation. Here, they're taking a guy out of his current environment and inserting him into a barbershop. Kiefer Sutherland will inject this guy with new memories, but not the barber. So if the barber doesn't get injected with new memories, what happens to him? Doesn't he wonder how this man got in his chair? The strangers are also creating new buildings everywhere. They change the memories of everyone and put them in a new place. That would make sense. But they're being very selective about the people who get new memories. So how do more people now think there's something really f***ed up going on here? Also, why are the strangers helping Dr. Schreiber out here? But before, they left him all alone with John just before the opening bathtub scene. Did they know a plot needed to happen? Not to be that guy. Oh wait, I am that guy. Anyhow, how do the physics of all this work? This couple now has a foyer 20 times the size of their old apartment. With all the buildings shifting around, how does the spacing still all work out? I've played SimCity before. This ain't that easy. If you can tune doors at will, why not just tune a giant gaping hole to walk through? Do you really need to go through all the trouble of opening a standard door when you enter the city? Anybody who would care about that is asleep, so don't be afraid to use your powers. If you haven't been rocked to sleep by this dreamlike movie already, you will during Emma's second song of the movie.
Murdoch does not possess these memories, yes? How will his imprint allow us to find him?
Everywhere he goes, everyone he seeks out will be known to us.
And as he follows the clues, so shall we follow the memories.
None of that makes any sense. They're injecting memories John doesn't even have into this dude's head, but somehow that makes it easier for them to sense his presence, and wherever he goes, it would be more understandable if, since John is like them and they operate with a hive mind, they can read his mind or detect his presence. But instead, this explanation sounds a lot like a bait and switch. The question gets answered by something that doesn't answer the question.
What Mr. Hand proposes is our only option.
The brain during adolescence, every 15 minutes. Also, is it really your only option? You guys can make everyone go to sleep and change the entire city at will. The last time you did this, John was running around this place like he was in the old Arby's roast beef sale commercial. Later we find out you can fly. You have so much power. There are many things you could do to find John that don't include doing this imprinting thing that everybody thinks is dangerous. John reads this card out loud, which would probably be sin enough, but then he goes and omits the entire pa and me sentence, which is the only sentence with a word I can't decipher. They are knee-deep in sea something? Robing? Mobines? Hobims? This must be the key to the whole movie, and you blew it, Proyas!
Try the subway.
This is what I'm talking about. True, John isn't affected by the stranger's tuning, but everyone who doesn't get new memories would have moments like this, where they recognize someone from some other place. Quite honestly, they should have taken the Kiefer Sutherland character out of this movie. The memory wipes and imprints make way more sense if the strangers just do them when they're doing the 12 o'clock tune. Kiefer's just here for the exposition. Weird time to grab a $5 footlong, but whatever. Wait, why are they visiting Melissa George? John talked to her very briefly earlier in the movie, and this was after the tuning didn't work. How do they even have a memory of her? It turns out to be a dead end anyway, but I have no clue what brought them here.
No way out, you know. You can't get out of the city, believe me, I've tried. You're Murdoch, aren't you?
Yeah, you lost your mind and have been dementia doodling all over your walls, but now you just happen to be here and somewhat coherent just when Murdoch shows up and know exactly who he is because he asked about a train. Boys at the convenience factory have been working overtime and it's finally paying off.
Yes. And I know where to find her.
Wait, are you saying just because you had a memory of her on a bench next to a harbor, she's going to be there right now for some reason? So that's some pretty insane luck. Are these people programs that do the same thing every day?
Imagine the torment of such an existence. No experiences to call your own.
The second verse of John Lennon's Imagine is much darker than I remember.
It's so damn long, I thought you'd forgotten your Uncle Carl.
But for some reason, I still have a slideshow about your past quickly available to run you through some exposition if you like.
Sorry, Johnny. The old Cracker Barrel ain't what it used to be.
I can't segregate tables by race anymore. Well, the hooker who lives here got brutally murdered. Let's check out that scribbling sound underneath the bed without getting the detective first.
It was a gift from my mother. She died recently. I keep it with me to remind me of her.
But mainly I keep it with me so that in case someone looks at it, I can talk about my mom and how it's odd that I don't remember some details that I should.
I understand. How can it be night already? What happened in the day? How'd I miss it?
I realize any of this could be chalked up to magic, but the movie seems to want to have its people can be aware enough to live their lives and ask important questions cake, and eat the but it's never day and no one has caught on yet part 2. And I'm pretty sure you can't have it both ways. Wait, did someone say cake? The strangers forgot to take the advice from Tim Roth's handler in Reservoir Dogs. It's the details that sell your story. You gotta know if they have paper towels or a blower to dry your hands. You gotta know if they've got liquid soap or that pink granulated powder they used to use in high schools. Their rivals, the Galaxians, would never have made this mistake. They'd have shells, pictures, and a dead bird in this book. I feel like running along the rooftops of a hellish cityscape would sum up watching movies in the 90s pretty well. I think even like One Fine Day had a nighttime chase on a rooftop.
What are you talking about?
And that's all it took to get us headlong into a villain exposits their evil plan cliche. It's amazing what a knife and the need to launch the third act can do.
Different eras, different pasts, all rolled into one.
Bull. It all looks consistently Hudsucker meets Gotham to me. I haven't heard any disco, yacht rock, or ska yet, is all I'm saying.
Learn what?
About you, Mr. Murdoch. You and your fellow inhabitants. What makes you human?
Yeah, but why do they think extracting memories and putting them into other people will achieve that goal? Do they even monitor what happens to these people after they do that? I feel like the motivations of these aliens are really, well, because the movie needs a cool concept. Earlier, a door appeared when you needed it, but here you must resort to breaking a window. Have you noticed that the whole you tuning thing happens less when it's convenient for you and more when it's convenient for the plot? Movie confuses ankle biters for knuckle biters. These assholes can do pretty much whatever they want, but they decide to surround John and look menacing until Frank drives up to save him. Get in! What do you mean, get in? Aren't these the people you're looking for? The call girl's kid drew a picture of them, and at this point, you don't know that these strangers can do all the gnarly they can do. So why aren't you getting out of your car and trying to arrest them? It's good for the movie that you don't, but why would you behave in this manner? Also, now that we see John getting away, why couldn't the strangers keep everything on pause until they captured him? Why wouldn't they send more guys?
What about this?
Frank grills John over the hooker murder, even though her kid drew 3 tall figures with a knife and not discount Christopher Walken.
Daylight. When was the last time you remember seeing it?
December 5th, 1996. It was the day before it opened. The first week of December is usually a big garbage dump for movies because it's the week after Thanksgiving and there's another 2.5 weeks before Christmas. So you get movies like Aeon Flux and that super unnecessary Psycho remake.
Explain this.
Finally! But also, quit going back and forth between acting like tuning is accidental or something you can control. Make up your mind, T-Pain. Are you doing it for real or is everything just auto-tuned? So if he can do that, why is he still in handcuffs? Is he hoping another hooker will die while he's in prison so he can go to William Hurt and yell, "See?"
Dr. Schreiber?
Movie forgets that Kiefer Sutherland is in it for an entire half an hour.
You see, they have an aversion to water.
The aliens in Dark City have the same weaknesses as the aliens in Signs.
First, there was darkness. Then came the strangers.
And welcome to the rowboat ride of exposition. Jack Dower here will spend the next 5 minutes laying out the entirety of the plot of the movie. You know, for a film that's done a pretty good job of holding mystery and reveals, it sure does go full exposition puke at the end, doesn't it?
They're dying, you see. Their entire race is on the brink of extinction.
So the most logical thing for them to do was to find the human race, swap their memories, study them, and something, their race will live forever. I know it sounds meaningless, but it's kind of cool when you watch it on screen. Also, the objective appears to be trying to find the human soul. So once they find it, how do they propose to bottle that up and distribute it and get off the endangered list?
That is how they built this city.
Was the tune they used rock and roll? Did they arrive in a starship?
That's why it's always dark. They can't stand the light.
So, no light, no water. They're 2/3 away from being the Mogwai. Also, why would it matter if there's light in the city when they all live underground? Why can't they just wait until it's nighttime to come out? And the only assholes who ever come out anyway are the ones doing the experiments. Also, they sound almost like the people from Idiocracy. Like sun and water are vital to life, and they're using Brondo to feed the crops because they have electrolytes.
But they still needed an artist to help them. I understood the intricacies of the human mind better than they ever could.
How did they know you were amazing at the intricacies of the human mind? You just said that they abducted everyone here and immediately started swapping memories. What particular work were you doing that told them, here's a guy who not only understands the human mind, but he also can do our experiments in a really artistic way. Pull him out of the simulation. Why the is this even here? And remember, they used a map to get here. So, like, the map actually takes you to a dead end that basically says, yep, your whole existence is a lie. Also, a man slowly awakens to his world being manipulated by unseen forces, so he finds his way to a boat to try to find the edges of his world, only to find the sky painted on a wall at the end. I swear I'll give all the sins back if Ed Harris shows up in a beret soon. No! Wait, why are there pipes on the floor here? Pipes that are strong enough to burst through brick walls, too. And, since John knows about his tuning and is sort of able to use it now because he understands it better, why the even bother with pipes? Well, now William Hurt is lost in space.
What do I care? She's not my real wife.
Attempting the Talking Heads defense. Either this is somehow working for the very first time after 2 unsuccessful tries, or this guy is so stupid that he believes this works after 2 failed attempts. The movie doesn't tell us one way or another, so let's just get to the finale already.
They want to make you one of them, so they can share your soul.
And once that happens, oh boy, is there going to be a lot of f***ing.
Give you a lifetime of knowledge in a single syringe.
Expositional pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals?
You will find strength within yourself, and you will prevail.
Why did Kiefer insert memories of Backdraft into John? His dad was in that movie, but he wasn't somehow.
You have the power to make anything happen, but you must act now.
But originally you wanted him to take this in the pool area, and I'm not so sure the urgency would have been the same then. For that matter, when you were spilling the secrets on the boat, you could have mentioned it again if you really thought it was that important. Good thing for the movie, it just happens to come together like this instead. It takes about 5 minutes of John f***ing everything up before the leader of this outfit starts attacking with his tune. Movie inspires Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Well, my amazing mind power didn't work. Maybe this knife will. He popped him like a balloon. Look at him go. Classic. F***ing 90s.
I knew you could do it, John.
Do what? Kill one of them? There are hundreds. Did they all die when he did?
You wanted to know what it was about us that made us human. Well, you're not gonna find it in here. You went looking in the wrong place.
It's in our buttholes. Alien species have known that for years. Seriously not sure how you missed the memo. I know we're supposed to just accept he's omnipotent now, but did he just create a sun? This is where John realizes that none of this was real. It was all a requiem for a dream.
I'm headed that way myself. Would you like to join me?
Duh. Also, at what point does he have the conversation with her about the alien race that implanted her memories? No? Just leaving everyone to their ignorance? You didn't free anyone, John. You just created a slightly prettier prison.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game.
No more, Mr. Quick.
That's the saddest sound I know.
That's bone. And the lettering is something called Cillian Braille.
What does it feel like to kill a man?
I'll tell you what. Give me one of them cigarettes you got up there, and I'll tell you all about it.
Let's take you, for instance. You probably don't think that I could force this towel down your throat. But trust me, I can.
Can anybody hear me? Where is everybody? Where did everybody go?
Let the tuning commence.
Show me what you got.
If Mr. Hand wishes to make this sacrifice for the greater good.
Shut it!
Who are you people?
What do you mean, you people?
You wanted to know what it was about us that made us human. Well, you're not gonna find it in here.
Never had a camera in my head.